morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. What I thought we'd do today is, I just got done setting up a 8x10 wall tent down at the bottom in the woods back here where we're doing the woodcraft and camping class this weekend. So I thought I would go ahead and make a couple implements for inside that tent that will work for hanging things like gear, lanterns, etc. inside that wall tent. We're going to do that by blacksmithing today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a lantern hook that will hook onto the back or the front 2x that is an upright, and it will be a friction fit that will have a hook on it that we can hang like a folding lantern on, or an oil lantern, or some type of other candle lantern. Stay with me, we'll get started. The projects like this are really good because they teach you how to draw metal out, how to bend and manipulate metal. You don't have to use real heavy stock to do this stuff with. So it's a real easy beginner's type project to make something that's useful. You can use this around your home just as easy as in a tent. So we're just going to draw out about a hammer's width of this to make our hook. Remember that you really only need to heat the area that you're trying to pound out. If you get this thing hot for a long ways like I did by sticking it in the forge and then going in and getting the camera and all that good stuff and setting everything up, you're going to end up getting this all bent and wonky and have to straighten it every time. So you really only want the area hot that you're working. We're going to cool that tip down so that when we smack on it with our hammer and chase it around this horn, it's not going to bend. That gives me a hook to put my lantern on. Now I need to get this arm bent so that it can wrap around a 2x4 and be held by friction. So at this point what I'm doing is I'm using a bending fork, and I've got a piece of 2x material locked in a vise that I'm using as a gauge, and I'm just eyeballing where I'm putting these bends. And once I get the bends where I want them, then I can straighten everything up. Got a white mark on this thing right where it needs to bend. Back the other direction. This. So now this is just a matter of visualizing what I want here. And I know that I want this to sit right here like this, pretty tight against that 2x4. And I want it to lean a little bit, and I wrap it around, and that's going to lock it in place, kind of like it lays right there. So I'm going to mark this where it needs to be bent and heat that part up. Alright, so now that I can visualize how much material I need, I can go ahead and cut this thing off because I know what I'm going to bend. So now if I cut this off about right in here, I'm going to be good and safe. Because I only need the width of a 2x4. In here. And this just like this. Now we're just going to tweak a couple things here to make it fit the way we want it to and straighten everything out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here, grab this piece, we're going to lift it up like this. Try to get that fairly straight. We're lifting that up so that when it lays on this 2x4, it'll be easier to get it on the 2x4 like this. And now it should, you're going to need to squeeze it in just a little bit this direction. Now we're just trying to get our final tweaks in. Locks on good, that's what we want. Now we want to twist this so that it hangs straight. And one good thing about this milder steel is it's pretty easy to work with it and bend it. Even when it's cold, you can manipulate it quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it in this vise and I'm going to squeeze it flat if I can. That's going to open that up just a little bit, just like that. And then I'm going to look at it on my thing here and see exactly how I'm hanging. And I'd like to twist this just a little bit more, but I don't want to open the thing up to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and close this down just a little bit. Just like that. Made that nice and snug. Now, I need to bring this over a little bit. Let's see what the best way to do that is. Like that. And then, turn the whole hook. Might have turned it too much there. Might have turned it too much. Like I said, subtle bending you can do with this when it's cold. You just aren't going to be able to get really precise bends out of it when it's cold. Now if we want that to hang a little more center, once it's in there, we can take this, bend it this direction more, and it will center it. And then we could actually put a bend in it there as well, right here. A little bit of a double bend right there. Bend it back this direction slightly, like that. Kind of put a double curve in it there, and that's going to better center it on our board. Like that. Just a little bit more bend right here. This is just a matter of tweaking things now. Just seeing what we got. Everything's held by friction here. Remember that. Now that's pretty well centered on our board now. It gives us a pretty good place to hang a lantern or something like that. It's going to be good and secure and not go anywhere. So what we're going to do now is we're going to heat this thing up and we're going to beeswax it to preserve it and keep it from rusting. Put glove on for this. It doesn't have to be real hot to melt the wax. As you can see, it's melting that wax already. It hasn't been in there very long. You don't want this wax necessarily to be on fire when you're applying it to the tool. Now we can, if we've got a sharp edge right here, we can fix that easy enough with a file real quick in a vise. Just knock that off or knock it off on a sander. On the belt sander over there will be good. Alright. That gets us pretty much where we want to be, I think, for the time being. Okay, so this is an 8x10 wall tent. This is the front of that wall tent. And this thing would be made to hook onto this 2x just like this inside the tent at whatever height you wanted, and it's friction held just like this. So now you can hang a lantern like this Stonebridge folding lantern off of that hook to light the inside of your tent. Okay, so I wanted to give you a close-up of that real quick if I could. The way that works is, you can see that it's kind of a Z right there. And it basically just hooks around the back side. And when you lean it down, it's held by friction. So you can adjust it up and down. And when you put weight on the hook, it's friction held in place and it can't go anywhere because it's wrapped completely around the pole. But it makes it very easy to adjust the height of that hook wherever you want it. If you wanted to lower it down because you're reading at a table, or you wanted to raise it up because you just want some low light while you were getting ready for bed at night, or whatever the case may be, that would be where you'd hang your lantern. And this Stonebridge folding lantern is an original from the 1900s, and these can be seen in lots of pictures of Horace Kephart's camp. He used a Stonebridge folding lantern, and this one, again, this is an original. It's got mica glass on it. It's got a beeswax candle in it, and I'm going to show you how these lanterns work because I have a reproduction one right here. And I'll show you real quick how they work. I've shown these in other videos, but I wanted to show it again to you today just in case you hadn't seen it, because we're hanging a lantern in our camp. And this is a pretty good hook. This hook's working out really, really well. It's exactly what I wanted. Pretty much center lined. It looks really, really good in here. So that's going to work for this weekend. Okay, so the way this works, and this was made by Jason Hunt, one of my instructors out here at the Pathfinder school at Campcraft Outfitters, made this sleeve for me. It's made out of a wax canvas, and it's a nice tight fit. I really like that. I mean, I can't hardly get the thing out of there, to be honest with you. And I like that. I want a tight fit on this thing. All right. So the way this thing works is it has a clip on the bottom, and it basically opens up just like this and unfolds, and then the bottom drops down to lock it, and then the lid folds up as well, and in the front there's another clip right here that you clip into the front like that, and that is your folding candle lantern. And this one has real mica lenses in it, but it's a reproduction in brass of the originals that were made of tin. All right, guys, well, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. I just wanted to show you that really quick video today on how to make a lantern or candle lantern hanger for a wall tent. You can make things like that will work in your own home as well, but the ability to be able to manipulate that metal and blacksmith things that you need is very handy. Now, you could also make things that would hang that lantern very easily from wood, more bushcrafty. But the ability to manipulate that metal gives you something long-lasting that you can just throw in your kit with that wall tent. Generally, a wall tent is going to come with a box that has metal stakes and a hammer, stake puller, and things like that. And you can just throw a couple implements like that go inside the wall tent in that same box. You're not going to carry that thing on your back, obviously. You're going to have conveyance. So you can tote that box of stuff, maybe a set of fire irons, a swing arm cook set, and you've got everything you need when you set that tent up to camp for a good week or even a month. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can.